Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Monster Hunter Wilds dropped, and it's been a wild ride, pun intended. I've spent some quality time carving up monsters in the Forbidden Lands, and today I'm going to be breaking down the highs and the lows of Capcom's latest beast slaying epic. Stick around for the full scoop. Let's dive in. First up, the good stuff, and oh boy, there's a lot of love. Visually, this game is a stunner. The dynamic environments from sandstorms in the Windward Plains to the fiery Olwell Basin, it feels alive. Monsters roam in herds, the weather shifts mid-hunt, and it all adds this immersive vibe that's next level for the series. Capcom's clearly flexing their tech here, and it pays off. The character creator, top tier. You can spend hours tweaking your hunter, and the voice protagonist adds a fresh layer to the story. This is probably rare for most of these games because most of the time, the main character does not actually get a voice. You select dialogue, and it just kind of mouth moves, and it is what it is. But in this game, your character actually has a voice. Speaking of which, the narrative it's different. It's not on Shakespeare's level, but they are trying to tell a main story. But following Nata and the quirky crew, like Gemma, the smithy, or Eric, the eccentric biologist, which never mind, I'm leaving that one alone, makes the campaign more engaging, honestly, than ever, probably. I mean, this is my first Monster Hunter game, so I don't really have a lot to compare it against, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's got great humor, it's got heart, it's even a few Resident Evil style twists with, one particular monster. You'll know the one I'm talking about. Combat's where Wild shines brightest. The 14 weapons feel refined, smoother, faster, and more fluid. Focus mode lets you target weak points with precision, and the Sacred Mount is honestly a game changer for me. I love riding this thing. I don't know if they put like a mocap on an ostrich or an emu, but the animation and the feel of this mount running along and jumping along the cliffs, running up the side of cliffs, it feels very fluid. Need to heal or swap weapons mid-fight? Well, just hop on your Sacred and handle it without breaking a sweat. Hunts are cinematic too. Think slamming a greatsword into a Doshaguma as boulders crash down. It's honestly pure adrenaline. Now, the names of these monsters suck. I suck at remembering names. So I've come up with my own name. Like the first monster you come into, I call it the Chitticabra, right? And then one of the other bosses, I think it's the second one you run into, I call it the Rooster. And then, later on, there's this, the Doshaguma that I just mentioned before. That name is hard for me to remember at times, so I call it the Lion Dog, even though it's not a lion or a dog. So it's kind of funny. I even have one I call the Alibaba. So it is what it is, right? This kind of how I play it. Finally, the open world-ish design is seamless. No more constant trips back to town. Everything's out in the field, connected. It's beautiful. It keeps you in the action in that loop of hunting, crafting, upgrading. It's very addictive. I would say it's still addictive as ever, but I've never played the other games. Now, you do have to go to town every now and then, especially if you're playing co-op. But if you're not playing co-op, I mean, you don't really need to. The story does progress you enough along the path that you'll go from base to base to base. And if you're out in the middle of the field, you have your barbecue grill, you have your pouch. I mean, you pretty much will have everything that you need. Now let's talk downsides. One big gripe people have, it's too easy, at least at launch. Now, I don't have a problem with it. I have carded a few times. My wife's carded a few times. I think the bosses are challenging to a point where it's enjoyable. If you're a veteran, you're going to breeze right through the game probably, especially the low rank without breaking a sweat. Monsters flee a lot, which can feel like busy work even with the sacred speed. And the challenge doesn't really ramp up until high rank. If you're expecting to grind like older titles, you might be disappointed early on. The story, while improved, isn't perfect. It leans hard in exposition dumps, and some pacing feels off. Like, do we need another walk and talk? Oh Lord, that drives me crazy, especially on the second playthrough. Some of that stuff you can skip. You can skip the cutscenes, you can skip a lot of the dialogue. But if it's a walk and talk, you can't skip that. So I'm hoping that you enjoy gathering, materials with your little grappling gun while you're doing the walk and talk. It's trying to be more than a monster slaying excuse, but it doesn't always stick the landing. And I like what they're trying to do. They just need to improve on it. They need to do a better job with it. Performance is another sore spot, especially on PC. Reviews and player buzz highlight frame rate dips and texture issues, even on beefy rigs. Consoles fare better, but it's not flawless. Capcom's promised updates, but right now it's not the polish you'd hope for in 2025. Now, me personally, I have a 4090. It's a pretty beefy rig, fairly expensive, with a great processor, a lot of RAM. I have not had any issues playing this game. Others have. So, again, it's your mileage may vary, essentially. Okay, lastly, now while I haven't gotten to this point myself, what I'm seeing online, content feels a bit thin post credits. The end game's shorter than World or Rise, and while free updates are coming, like one this spring, it leaves the base game feeling light for hardcore hunters chasing hundreds of hours. And I do agree. I think there's one more monster scheduled to be dropped with an upcoming patch, and unless they've changed things that I'm unaware of, that's different from what they have with Worlds and Rise, where they had multiple monsters scheduled in the first few months after the game dropped. So we'll have to see what they end up coming with. So where does Monster Hunter Wilds land? It's a fantastic evolution of the series, gorgeous, accessible, and packed with thrilling moments. The sacred, the combat tweaks, the living world. It's peak Monster Hunter in so many ways, but the lack of early challenge, performance hiccups, and a leaner endgame hold it back from perfection. For newcomers, this is the most welcome Monster Hunter yet. I'm a newcomer, so it's been great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. For vets, however, it's a mixed bag. Tons of fun, but maybe not the grind that you crave. I'd give it a solid, honestly, for me, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Well, let me rephrase that. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10, only because I think the story leaves a lot to be desired, honestly. It's an early contender for 2025's best, and with updates, it could climb higher. What do you think? Drop your thoughts below in the comments. Are you going to play the game? What's your favorite monster? Biggest gripe? Whatever's on your mind. Let me know what you guys think. That's it for this review. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button, subscribe for more gaming goodness, ring the bell so you don't miss a hunt. Until next time, sharpen those blades and happy hunting.